Hi, everyone. This is Lawrence Watkins, and welcome to the Financial Juneteenth 5. These are my 5 favorite articles as it relates to Black finance, wealth, and business for today, October 21st, 2020. Let's go ahead and get started. All right. So the first article today is an inspiring story about Black entrepreneurship. So it's following a brother by the name of Mark Wilson, and he is the CEO of Chime Solutions, based, I believe, in Atlanta, Georgia, or at least he has an office there. But the title of the article states, a company turns millions in profits, bringing call center jobs to Black communities. So there is, in the subtitle is, there is so much talent that gets left behind, says Chime Solution CEO Mark Wilson. So their strategy is to bring the jobs to the people. And I really love reading this story because A, it's just good news, and it shows, and B, it shows the value of entrepreneurship to the Black community. The article started talking about a woman by the name of Taylor Pride. She was, talking through. She's a mother of four. She's 26 years old, and really felt like she didn't have any future. But she eventually came across Chime Solutions and was hired and became a great employee at the Red Bird Mall. Now it's called the Southwest Center Mall, I believe, in Atlanta, Georgia. And this company employs 500 residents from the community at this particular call center. So she has a quote here that says, they could have gone anywhere with their business, but they came here because these people are the people who need the help the most. Pride, who was hired by the company, is one of several that crystallize the ideals of Chime Solutions, a Black owned company that provides outsourcing services for small businesses as well as some Fortune 500 companies. All right, there's a picture of Taylor. So it talks about CEO Mark Wilson. He has a quote in here that states, our primary focus is to address the issue of economic mobility, creating opportunities in under-resourced communities. To achieve that, Wilson set a goal of creating 10,000 jobs across 10 cities, in all communities with a significant Black population. There was a good stat in here that says Chime employs 1,500 people there. I believe that's in Atlanta, Georgia, and overwhelmingly number of them are Black, and most from Clayton County, where the company had been expected to generate about $87 million in sales per year in 2016. And I believe a lot of this was sourced from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. He actually started the business, or runs the business, with his wife, Shelly Wilson, who is a microbiologist by trade, but now he is the COO of the company. The couple started a customer service and outsourcing business called RYLA Teleservices out of the basement of their home, and eventually sold the business in 2010 for a reported $70 million. With Chime, their goal is to bring jobs back to Black communities. So here it talks about let's see, Dallas and Charlotte, North Carolina. So the model is the same in Dallas and Charlotte, where Wilson recently employed 250 workers in an underserved community with plans for more hires. Next up are Baltimore and Detroit, he said. 5 other cities will be added over time with a goal of 1,000 jobs created per city for those living in underserved communities. Wilson also has another quote in here. He states, there is a lot to what we're trying to accomplish. We're doing business as a Black owned company, creating jobs for Blacks, using the multiplier effect, meaning for every job you create, another is created. And it is money spent in the community. So shout out to Mark Wilson. I also wanted to share a story of Mason Parker, who was actually hired by Mr. Wilson and the Chime Solutions company. And in here, he has a quote that I thought was just indicative of the type of impact that entrepreneurship can have in our community. So it states, Parker started out as a call center representative, and in 11 months was promoted to service delivery manager. My job search had been unrewarding, but Chime has also allowed me upward mobility, which I wanted, and I don't have to manage who I am on the job the way that you have to as Blacks on other jobs. One day I ended a phone conversation saying, "That's dope." and no one say anything. That was so refreshing. I am allowed to let my personality shine, and it's embraced and appreciated. You don't get to, or excuse me, you don't get to, or excuse me, you don't get that everywhere and almost nowhere. I really like this story, and I thought this was a good place to start out. We often talk about Black entrepreneurship, but a lot of times I don't think that we actually see the impact of having large scale Black entrepreneurs and large scale Black companies out here in the workforce, and the impact and change that it can have in our communities as well. The next article comes from Axios. Let me make that a little bit bigger. It says corporate redlining has cost Black neighborhoods millions, and it was written by Dion Rabon. I did not know how to pronounce his last name. I see his name often, so I need to do some more research and maybe reach out to that brother as well. So it starts off with an important stat. The number of SBA loans to Black owned businesses has decreased 84% from its peak before the 2008 financial crisis, according to a new report from the Business Journals, citing lending data from the agency's flagship 7A program. Overall, 7A loans declined 53% during that time. And this matters, and the main point of this article is the precipitous decline in loans to Black owned businesses in particular was despite 48% growth in the economy, a 101% increase in bank deposits, and an 82% jump in commercial loans, the report notes. White neighborhoods receive roughly twice as much per person in small business loans compared to Black neighborhoods, the data show. Likewise, majority white neighborhoods on average receive roughly twice as many small business loans per capita as well. So the big picture, experts say the data underscore the way bank and government policy has exacerbated racial disparities in wealth generation, home ownership rates, educational attainment, and other measures of financial equality. And it has a quote in here from Orv Kimbrough. I'm not exactly sure who this man is, but he's the CEO of Midwest Bank Center. I wonder if he's related to Dennis Kimbrough or Walter Kimbrough or any of the other Kimbroughs that are out there. But he calls it corporate redlining. I think that's an interesting way to look at it. So we know about redlining from a real estate and housing perspective, but the way that loans are divvied up to small businesses, he's calling that corporate redlining. So this is just a something to kind of keep track of and for us to continue to improve on over time as well. The next article is a press release that comes from Management Leadership for Tomorrow, which is an organization that is near and dear to my heart. It's the reason why I was accepted and went to some of the top business schools in the country, and I owe a large portion of of that to MLT and its impact in terms of the admissions process for me. But it states Management Leadership for Tomorrow launches first of its kind standard setting certification to drive action and accountability on Black equity in corporate America. So it starts off by saying Management Leadership for Tomorrow. So MLT announced a first of its kind certification, the MLT Black Equity at Work, which establishes a clear and comprehensive Black equity standard for employers. The certification provides the roadmap needed to enable employers to take a systematic, results-oriented approach towards achieving Black equity. Becoming MLT Black Equity at Work certified requires employers to take the same results-oriented approach with Black equity as they do with quarterly earnings and other core business priorities. So the press release mentions some of the companies that have already signed up to be a part of this initiative. These include Amazon, Bain Capital, BCG, so Boston Consulting Group, Moody's, PNC Bank. Let's see what else is here. Viacom and CBS, Walker and Dunlop, Warner Media, and also Workday, as well as some other companies as well. There's a quote in here from John Rice, who is the CEO of MLT. We are in an extraordinary moment where business and social sector leaders have unprecedented levels of conviction to take bold steps to expand economic and career mobility outcomes for Black people. Only by defining a standard and showing companies how to deliver measurable results on Black equity can we start to raise the bar for racial equity in the workplace. And the initiative focuses on three core areas. So, people, purchasing, and philanthropy. And that's broken down across five pillars: Black representation at every level, compensation equity, inclusive, anti racist work environment, racially just business practices, and racial justice contributions and investments as well. Please be on the lookout. So if you work for a large corporation who may be interested in this type of certification, please reach out to MLT, and I'm sure they can get your corporate partners and the corporation that you may work for on board as well to this initiative. The next article is also a press release from Cision, but it's about the Nielsen. The company Nielsen released a report. So Nielsen's 10th year African American Consumer Report explores the power of the Black community from moment to movement. Data shows African Americans have increasing cultural, economic, and political influence. So the report's name is "The Power of the Black Community from Moment to Movement." The report states, this is the core of the art, or the core of the article. Black influence on the economy and pop culture continues to drive not only significant moments in history, but drive change across industries and digital platforms. So there's a quote here from Cheryl Grace, the Senior VP of Consumer Insights and Engagement at Nielsen. African Americans are calling out systemic racism while at the same time creating opportunities for growth across social platforms and businesses with various levels of innovation. African Americans have historically navigated these imperfect structures, but the current global reckoning brought on by a unique confluence of moments proves the power of the Black community and its incredible influence. And after that, they listed some of the key findings. Some of these findings include, here's the first one: there has been an overall increase in buying power across the community and also what African Americans are buying. The next, in the last decade, there have been more successful Black brands, Black-owned businesses, and investment in expanded economic opportunities for African Americans. Here are some interesting stats regarding this key point. African Americans are nearly 3 times as likely to take to social media to show support for their favorite companies and brands. Also, African Americans are now 58% more likely to expect the brands that they buy from to take a stance on issues, and 37% more likely to buy a brand when they actually do. One of the other key points are the high usage levels or usage rates of podcasts in the African American community. So podcasts have become a central stage for Black voices. In a typical week, almost 49% of African American podcast listeners spend about 1 to 4 hours listening to podcasts. And of course, you can put me in that group. Actually, probably preparing for this segment, I actually probably listen to more than 1 to 4 hours. So I'm like a super podcast listener nowadays as well. And the last key point that I wanted to bring up in this article: this time of racial reckoning has placed great responsibility on Hollywood and other media publishers to be more inclusive in their stories and characters that they actually tell. And also, actually, this is the last one. In the past decade, there's been a considerable growth in African Americans' population, buying power, education, and income. And there are currently 48.2 million African Americans in the United States as well. So check out the report, the full report, The Power of the Black Community from Moment to Movement, if you would like to learn more. And of course, the link will be in the description. The last article today comes from, hopefully they didn't lose my notes. Nope. Okay, great. The last article today comes from Fast Company. It states, the 100K pledge is tracking the progress of corporate commitments to Black economic justice. So this was, so 100K pledge is another type of thing that corporations are doing. It was actually started by Vijay Chatta, founder and CEO of communications with his firm VSC. I'm not too familiar with this firm, but he launched the 100K pledge He launched the 100K Pledge, a platform to both inspire more people to commit to helping the Black community's economic empowerment and a way to track such commitments from both individuals and corporations. He has a quote that states, "It's a two-pillar approach. One is to get more professionals to commit to something, even if it's relatively small. And the second is to track bigger organizations so we can hold them accountable." So we actually see this quite a bit. I'm noticing a lot of individuals that are outside of the Black community trying to do something using their skill sets to really help the problem of racial inequities and strive for racial justice, especially within corporate America. And I want to know what you all think about that. Do you think this is overall a good thing to have more allies in this type of way? Or do you think that, I guess, Black people should really be trying to go at this alone and shape and structure the conversation? So let me know in the comments what you think about that, because on this channel and other places that I've seen, I see a mixed reaction when I bring up something like that as well. But anyway, back to the article. The 100K pledge was a way to get more people, besides only CEOs and billionaires, on board with creating change. The 100K Pledge website lets people commit to dedicating at least $100,000 to Black economic empowerment over 10 years, either by creating hiring opportunities for Black talent, investing in Black-owned businesses and venture funds, or by directly donating to scholarships, organizations working on advancing economic opportunity in Black-owned businesses and entrepreneurs as well. He says, "I call it social justice for the LinkedIn demographic." So Chata, that's what he said. It's the group of people that are professionals that want to make change and are not necessarily always feeling like part of the change happening at the corporate level. So I'll skip this last quote. But if you would like to know more, I'm not exactly sure if it mentions the website for the 100K Pledge. Here we go. It looks like there's a form right here. So the website is the 100kpledge.com. And in the article, there's a form if you have your organization or individuals who actually want to take a pledge. Oh, actually, I will go back and read this because I think this is important to note regarding this particular article is that this organization, is that it's leaning more towards individual action instead of corporate action. So it's looking to make it easy for individuals to make pledges and make promises and take action as it relates to Black economic advancement. So the last part of this paragraph states, when a company makes a promise, management might change or someone might get a new job, and that doesn't help them make an individual difference. There needs to be some way for individuals to do important things with the power they have as professionals rather than always tied to the corporation. All right, so maybe I'll try to get Mr. Chata on the Black Financial Channel or the Financial Juneteenth channel to talk a little bit more about what he's actually doing. But that's it for today. So those are my top 5 stories as it relates to Black finance, wealth, and business and the Financial Juneteenth 5. Please let me know what you thought about today's stories and let me know what you think about the segment in general. Before you get out of here, make sure that you press the thumbs up button. Also, make sure that you share and subscribe to the Financial Juneteenth channel to get more news like the news that I'm delivering in this daily segment as well. So on behalf of the Black Financial Channel, my name is Lawrence Watkins. Take care, be blessed, and have a wonderful day. All right, bye-bye.